Joe Biden is attempting to rest his reelect efforts on the basis of the economy. It's not going to work. It's why eventually he's just going to turn to democracy talk. In fact, there are already reports today that the next several weeks, Joe Biden is just going to say the word democracy over and over and over again. That is going to be his campaign. His campaign is going to be Donald Trump's an insurrectionist. I stand for democracy. It seemed to work out fairly well for him in the 2022 elections when he ran against the so-called MAGA Republican insurrectionists and all of this. And running against Donald Trump, he's hoping that it will carry him to victory again. He certainly cannot rely on his economic program because the economic program is a full-scale disaster area. According to the New York Times, President Biden challenged his Republican opponents on Thursday in their area of political strength, arguing he has done a better job of managing the economy than former President Donald Trump did and accusing his predecessor's congressional allies of undercutting working-class Americans. Good luck with that. Again, Americans don't agree with that. By every available poll, they think that Trump did a better job on the economy than Biden did by leaps and bounds. Biden is now relying on old standby talking points that just don't work. So here's Joe Biden explaining, it's Republicans won't say what they're for. They just say what they're against. Well, half of what you're for is what you're against. We should point out, like, if you say, I wish to take this car and drive it over a cliff, and I say you shouldn't do that, I don't have to offer what I'm for. What I'm for is you not driving the car over the cliff. Here is Joe Biden trying to say words from his mouth hole and failing.
America has the strongest economy in the world of all major economics. And all they do is attack it. But, you've noticed something. For all the time they spend attacking me and my plans, here's what they never do. They never talk about what they want to do. No, think about it. They tell you what they're against. What are they for?
For you not doing the things you're doing. That's what we're for. We're for you not inflating the currency. We're for you not spending $7 trillion a year. We're for you not blowing trillions of dollars into random boondoggle projects via the Inflation Reduction Act, which has not reduced inflation. We're for, like, that's a bunch of things that I'm for. I love that argument. That argument is so stupid. It's a truly moronic argument. Honest to God, it's like so your employee is embezzling against you. And you're like, you call up the police and you say, I'm against my employee embezzling. Can you arrest them? And the police say, hey, you're telling us what you're against. We need to hear what you're for. No, that's not the way any of this works. Meanwhile, Joe Biden, branding genius, he has decided that he is going to coin a new term. Since Bidenomics is not working, he went deep into the recesses of his brain. They're not very deep. It's a very, very shallow puddle, that brain at this point. And always, actually, he was always a mile wide and an inch deep was Joe Biden, mentally speaking. He has now coined a new term. Here's how it works. He takes a term and then he adds the suffix nomics to it. Wait for it. Watch this. It's amazing.
Under MAGAnomics, as I'm calling it.
MAGAnomics? You mean MAGAnomics? MAGAnomics. You see, now that's the thing. He said MAGAnomics. MAGAnomics. Under Mugisha, had the good Busha. Not a joke. Not a joke. Don't jump. This is the one you chose. Also, he started screaming randomly, which is what he does. He whispers. I whisper into the microphone. Here we go.
You're going to pay somewhere between 20 and 40% less in those other countries. Same exact drug, made by the same exact company.
He's throttling that like his night nurse when she comes in the middle of the night to clean the bedpan. She wakes him up and is like, okay, Joe, things are going amazing. Things are going absolutely amazing. Don't worry, Republicans will find a way to screw it up because they're great at that. They always do. The Ben Shapiro Show is sponsored by Grand Canyon University, an affordable private Christian university with a vibrant campus in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. It's ranked top 20 in the country, according to niche.com. It is a beautiful campus. I have been there. GCU is a missional, Christ-centered university striving to foster a culture of community, giving, and impact. GCU's goal is to help you develop into a servant leader who makes a difference through finding your purpose. With 330 academic programs, over 270 online as of June 2023, GCU integrates the free market system with a welcoming Christian worldview into your bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University, private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu today to get started. Let's talk about how you can make yourself healthier more easily. And that would be with Balance of Nature fruits and veggies. They're a great way to make sure that you're getting essential nutritional ingredients every single day. Through Balance of Nature's advanced cold vacuum process, the vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients of the fruits and veggies are preserved, so you can get that vital nutrition in every capsule. Balance of Nature is a whole food supplement with no additives, fillers, extracts, synthetics, pesticides, or added sugars. The only thing in their capsules is pure fruits and veggies. Balance of Nature sent a bunch of their product down to the studio for my team to try their kosher, so I've been using them as well. As you know, I've said it many times on the show, I think vegetables are the enemy of man, but you have to ingest them so that you actually can live longer. Well, I use Balance of Nature to make up the deficit. Go to balanceofnature.com, use promo code Shapiro for 35% off your first order as a preferred customer. That's balanceofnature.com, promo code Shapiro, and get 35% off your first order. I'm not the only one at the office using it. Producer Jake can't stand soybeans, but he loves Balance of Nature's fruit and veggie capsules. They're making him healthier. They're making my entire crew healthier. They're making me healthier. Check them out right now. Balanceofnature.com. Promo code Shapiro. Get 35% off your first preferred order. The Republicans have decided again that a circular firing squad is the proper way to fight the Democrats, which is, everyone is so good at this. That's the amazing thing. Whenever folks tell you that they watch a show like House of Cards, you should just know politics is not House of Cards. No one knows what they're doing. They're all idiots. They're a bunch of morons who run into walls at top speed and then yell about how much it hurts and how everyone has victimized them. And then they turn around and run into other walls at top speed. And they do all this while spending your money. This is how politics works, typically speaking. It's the best system, it's the worst system except for all the others. But it is what we have. So naturally, Republicans have decided that they are going to run top speed into walls over a possible government shutdown. Now, I don't know exactly what are the deliverables here. I've said it before. Give me a list of deliverables that you are seeking from Kevin McCarthy, and maybe he can deliver them, and maybe he can't. But there's one thing that I have noticed, and that is that the Democrats control the Senate and the presidency. It's just a thing I noticed. So you can get some small concessions from them, but the notion that you're going to radically remake American government because the power of the purse is with the House. Yes, the power of the purse is with the House. And guess what happens if you lead to a large-scale government shutdown? You probably lose the House. Republicans wildly underperformed in the last electoral cycle. They have a majority slim as a reed. They're going into an election cycle that is going to be, at best, very close for Republicans. And this is a time that you're going to pick a fight inside your party. The reality is that Republicans should make hay when the sun shines. The sun is not quite shining right now. You make of it what you can. But instead, they're going to have circular firing squad time. So Matt Gaetz is attacking Kevin McCarthy for no reason that I can, like, what is the principled reason from Matt Gaetz here? Like, what's his deliverable? If he gives me a deliverable, I'm perfectly happy to go along with the deliverable. Chip Roy, during the last speakership fight, gave me a list of deliverables, and I was very much in favor of a lot of those deliverables. And so that was fine. And then he got most of them, and then he made a deal with McCarthy, and that was good. But I'm just wondering, like, what is the point of this? So Matt Gaetz tweeted out, sounds like Speaker McCarthy is having a total normal one, not rattled at all. Truth is, Kevin controls his own fate. So instead of emotionally cursing, let's do this. Single subject spending bills, term limits vote, balanced budget vote, release January 6th tapes to all, subpoena Hunter. We must begin immediately. Pull yourself together, Kevin. Okay, so a few of those are deliverable. Hunter is going to get subpoenaed. That is going to happen. Releasing the January 6th tapes to all, fine. He can do that. That's fine. A balanced budget vote is going to go down to flaming defeat, and a bunch of Republicans are going to vote against it. So one of the things that you don't do when you're Speaker of the House is bring up a vote that your own party is not going to vote for. That's a typical thing you don't do. You just don't bring it to a vote. When it comes to term limits, same sort of deal. And when it comes to single subject spending bills, listen, I would love that. I would love to run it that way. Also, you know what's going to happen? None of that stuff's going to pass. So if the idea is all of this or government shutdown, the reality is going to be government shutdown. That's just what it's going to be. I hate the omnibus packages. I think they're garbage. I also don't believe the Democrats are simply going to cave to Republicans because Matt Gaetz goes on MSNBC and yells about Kevin McCarthy. So he's challenging McCarthy's speakership again. He's suggesting that he is going to challenge McCarthy's speakership again. Apparently, in a behind closed doors meeting, McCarthy was defiant with his caucus, and he said, move the motion then. Move the effing motion to remove him from his position if you think that you can do it. And he happens to be right about that. Again, there are like 180, 190 Republicans inside the Republican caucus who are not going to vote for anyone else. Apparently, he said, if you think you scare me because you want to file a motion to vacate, move the effing motion. And then he said, if you end up replacing me, my successor will make the same exact arguments I am. And then Gaetz reportedly responded by saying, just move the effing spending bills. But again, he can move the spending bills and they could go nowhere. So what is the fight even about? That's the part I don't understand. What is the big victory here? What is the victory you are seeking to achieve here? McCarthy, for his part, He's saying no one wins in a government shutdown. Now, understand something. McCarthy won the last government shutdown. He did. He won it against Biden. Why? Because Biden made a massive tactical blunder. He opened by saying, I will not negotiate over a government shutdown. He said, I will not negotiate over spending at all. And then McCarthy's like, hey, I'm perfectly willing to negotiate. All I want is like these few things. Is that so unreasonable? In fact, I passed a bill, like a big omnibus bill that gives you virtually everything you want. Why won't you negotiate? And it wrong-footed Biden. Biden has not made that mistake again. Now Biden's case is, I'm happy to negotiate. Let's talk about it. We have to do whatever we can to avoid a government shutdown. If McCarthy now takes the stand, I'm going to shut down the government, then all of the benefit of the government shutdown accrues to the Democrats. It's simple calculus here. See, there's something that I object to in sort of my industry. Okay, there are a lot of people in my industry who believe that idealism requires you to charge headlong into hard objects. Idealism is understanding what we would like. Realism is understanding what you can get. An idealist who is not a realist is a fool. If you're an idealist and what you think is that you always go for broke, always and forever, and that anything short of that is ideological treason, that is incorrect. It is not true. That is not how business gets done. It's not how politics gets done. It's not how anything gets done. In fact, it is a recipe for losing repeatedly, because when you go for 100 and you won't take anything less than 100, you're much likelier to get 0 than you are to get 80. Right? If you try and get most of what you want, well, then you better know the lay of the land. You better actually take into account tactics and strategy. And there is this defeatism that has come into the Republican Party that suggests no matter what we do, we're not going to get what we want, so we may as well just yell as loud as we can with no actual end goal here that is doable. And then everyone who refuses to do that, we're just going to yell them out of the party, or we're going to alienate them, or we're going to put up candidates who are bound to lose, because if we yell a lot, maybe we'll feel better about it. Defeatism is a sin. Defeatism is a sin. Despair is a sin. This is not stuff that you should be doing. As somebody who watches politics, and people in my industry shouldn't be doing it either. It is my job to tell you, yes, what my principles are, but also the realistic lay of the land so we know what we can get. And I think there are a lot of people in my industry who don't tell you the lay of the land. And so they give a false perception of what it is that you can get. And that's a mistake, because it sets up unrealistic expectations. It means that there are politicians who are negotiating, who are trying to make the sausage, and then we object to the sausage-making process. And then the sausage doesn't get made, and then we're really mad the sausage didn't get made, and we blame them. Okay, but the reality is that it's an ugly process. It will always be an ugly process. If you want Republicans to make serious changes in the spending habits of the United States, which is what I would like is the stuff that no one will talk about. I want restructuring of entitlements. The vast drivers of our national debt are not marginal programs. Okay, it is not marginal cutting around the edges of like the defense budget. The vast cuts that we need in our programs are going to be had by restructuring major programs. Yes, like Medicare and Social Security, those third rails of American politics. Democrats and Republicans know that there will come a point where austerity has to be brought upon the American people. That will include tax increases. It will include massive cuts to social benefits. All those things will happen. It's just a question of when. Or you can plan for it now, but nobody will touch that. Instead, we'll jabber about pork barrel spending and bridges to nowhere that cost a fraction of what it would cost to actually look at Social Security and Medicare. And the reality is, we're not going to do any of that unless you actually win. You have to win. You have to own the House. You have to own the Senate. You have to own the presidency. Then you can move stuff. What's amazing to me is that the calls for political courage constantly seem to be directly in inverse proportion to the amount of power Republicans wield. It's kind of an amazing thing, truly. When Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the presidency, the calls for political courage disappear on the right. When Trump was president and Republicans ran the House and the Senate, where were the calls for now's the moment, guys, let's restructure Social Security, let's restructure Medicaid, let's change how we do spending bills. Now's the time, let's do it right now. Let's do it right now. Where were the calls? They totally went away. No one cared. And then when the Republicans are like barely in control of one house of Congress, like, be strong, you have to stand up, and now is no, actually. You know when you get things done? When you have control of the levers. Now, what does that bespeak? It bespeaks that when you're victorious, you tend to be lazy. And when you're not victorious, you tend to be defeatist and thus desperate and thus charge into walls at top speed. Here's McCarthy talking about how nobody wins in a government shutdown, which, I mean, speaking in terms of just political wins and losses, we've had several of these. Nobody's been like a big winner from a government shutdown in the recent past.
I showed frustration in here because I am frustrated with the committee. I'm frustrated with some people in the conference. But when we come back, we're not going to leave. We're going to get this done. Nobody wins in a government shutdown.
Okay, that happens to be true. You can yell about it. You can protest about it. A government shutdown is not going to result in Barack Obama repealing Obamacare. It wasn't going to when Ted Cruz did this routine back in 2013. A government shutdown is not going to result in Joe Biden reneging on the Inflation Reduction Act or whatever garbage he wants to pass. It's not going to do it. Again, I'll give you the idealism. I'll tell you what I want, and then I'll tell you what's realistic, because that's what responsible people do. And it seems to me that if you're talking about the fate of the United States and our fiscal future, responsibility should be at the top of the list. Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.